Welcome back to Riddle Me This TV, Super Villains Edition.
What happened to Valerie?
Strangled her.
With what?
A belt.
In the quiet town of Arlington, Indiana, a horrific crime unfolds that chills the entire community to the bone.
She tried to take her clothes off. She thought she was going to seduce me and it wasn't going to happen. I just knew she wasn't going to blackmail me.
A young life extinguished. 17-year-old Valerie Tindall vanishes without a trace, only to be found buried in a makeshift coffin. The perpetrator, none other than her employer and neighbor, 59-year-old Patrick Scott.
What happened to Valerie?
Valerie got carried away.
Was she struggling when you were strangling her?
Yeah.
But the depths of deception reveal more than a motive. They uncover a disgusting attempt at a justification for murder.
She tried to blackmail me into buying her a car. Things just got carried away.
Had you and Valerie been in a sexual relationship?
As we peel back the layers of this dark tale, one question lingers. How can someone turn from neighbor to predator right before your eyes?
I'm gonna ask you one question. What happened to Valerie Tindall?
Valerie Tindall, a 17-year-old student at Rushville Consolidated High School, was known for her infectious smile, love for video games, singing, and spending time with loved ones. She had a passion for animals and aspired to be a veterinarian. It's in the quaint town of Arlington, Indiana, that her parents, Sheena Sandifer and Jack Tindall, sought refuge from the harsher realities of city life. The Tindall family, drawn to Arlington's promise of peace, found more than just a home. They also found themselves trapped in a nightmare where they couldn't wake up. Patrick Scott, the Tindalls' neighbor from across the street, owned a local lawn care business in Maplewood. Scott appeared to be the epitome of a helpful neighbor, quickly forming a bond with them that resulted in him offering Valerie, then just 15, a job. She became his employee, and he became her mentor. On Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, Valerie left word that she would be at work. Her mother, Sheena, thought this was odd as Valerie doesn't normally work on Wednesdays. Sheena brushes off her initial concern, assuming Valerie might be with friends or maybe a boy. She called Patrick Scott, and when he said that Valerie did not show up for work, her worry turned into all-out panic. Her nightmare was just beginning. As Valerie's mom continued to try to pinpoint her daughter's whereabouts, she faced an ever-shifting narrative from her friend and neighbor, Patrick Scott. A key detail emerges when one of Scott's clients mentioned overhearing plans for a lunch meeting between him and Valerie. This new lead prompted Valerie's mother to contact authorities immediately.
I want to just break in here for a moment to kindly remind you, if you have not already, to please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.
Rush County Sheriff's Department is asking for your help finding a missing 17-year-old. She is missing from Arlington, Indiana.
The Rush County Sheriff's Office treated Valerie's case with seriousness from the outset. As they would do if she was a runaway, they swiftly executed warrants on social media platforms, phone providers, and bank accounts to track her potential movements. Although she had not run away, the data obtained by investigators would become crucial in learning Valerie's fate. For the next 5 months, Sheena and Jack endured a parent's worst nightmare. As Valerie's 18th birthday passed on August 29th, the agony of not knowing what happened to her took its toll. Did she run away? The details of her disappearance, what led to it, and the words from the person responsible would only add to their pain. On the day she disappeared, it turns out that Valerie was with Patrick Scott in his home across the street from where she lived. There was an argument, it escalated, and in a moment of unfathomable violence, Patrick Scott strangles Valerie with his belt. Scott then wraps her in black plastic and leaves her body in his home office, returning to his family in the main part of his home to go about his evening. The next day, he reportedly constructed a wooden box in which he placed her body and screwed it shut. Scott, then wheeled Valerie's body to another part of his property, where he buried her, less than 100 yards from her own home. The search for Valerie Tindall, spearheaded by the Rushville Police Department, Shelby County Sheriffs, and United States Marshals, was an extensive operation that spanned across hundreds of acres across the area. This concerted effort involved meticulous searches of remote locations, guided by the digital footprints left by a phone Scott had bought for Valerie. Each geolocation acting as a beacon, drawing law enforcement closer to uncovering her fate. Amidst their rigorous search, a photo of Valerie posted on social media the day she disappeared caught their attention. In it, her vibrant flowing hair and boundless youthful energy painted a picture of a life full of potential tragically cut short. Yet, the distinctive orange fingernails, a small but striking detail, would emerge as a vital piece of the puzzle in unraveling the mystery of her disappearance. While Valerie's parents yearned for answers, Patrick Scott continued to play the role of trusted friend and neighbor, and a devoted husband and father to his own family. But detectives began to detect deception, revealing a monstrous betrayal hidden beneath the facade of his concern and camaraderie. From the outset, the Rush County Sheriff's Office identified Scott as a person of interest. However, the investigation was complicated by Scott's landscaping business, which granted him access to numerous remote locations. In response, the Sheriff's Office secured and carried out over 50 search warrants. Investigators brought cadaver dogs to a property with a pond close to Scott's house. The dogs signaled the presence of human remains in the water. This led investigators to conduct an aerial survey of Scott's properties, which revealed multiple areas of disturbed ground. On November 28, 2023, almost 6 months after Valerie Tindall had vanished, law enforcement carried out simultaneous search warrants on several properties across the region, including Scott's home and an adjacent property he owned. An excavation revealed disturbances in the soil, leading to the discovery of 2 closely situated boxes. One of these, buried deeply, held Valerie's remains, identifiable by the orange nail polish she had on her hands the day she went missing. Scott, under constant surveillance during the execution of these search warrants, was taken into custody without incident, subsequently admitting to the murder. In the wake of this tragedy, Valerie's family grapples with the why of it all. The interrogation of Patrick Scott offers a chilling glimpse into the depths of human depravity.
So, Patrick, over the last 5 months, you and I have gotten to know each other, correct?
Okay.
Correct? You've seen me a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And every time we talk, we get along good, right?
I reckon.
We talk, right? We have no issue talking, correct? Okay.
In the initial phase of the interrogation, the officer employs a common tactic of rapport building with Patrick Scott. By engaging in small talk, offering a drink of water, and referring to previous encounters, the officer creates a semblance of familiarity and understanding. By adopting a conversational tone, the officer sets the stage for a more cooperative interview and places Scott in a mental state more conducive to sharing information.
So, here's the deal tonight. Now, I normally don't do this, okay, but here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to tell you, because here's why. Here's why. You know, I can play off like 8 million things right here. As you come and sit in this room, your mind plays tricks on you as an officer, all right? And it tells you to go all these different directions and try all this different stuff. But the fact of the matter is that I think you're overall probably a pretty good person, okay? If I didn't, I would have treated you probably different over the time, all right? I'm just going to talk to you like a person, all right? And then there's times like you sit in this interview room and maybe that didn't happen in the past, all right? But the fact of the matter is that the natural human thing is when you do something wrong is you want to tell us that you did something wrong, okay? So what I made the decision of when I walked through that door right there was, I would like to talk to you today, and I would like you to tell me what happened to Valerie. That's the end result of what I want to know, okay? But here's what's weird about today. I'm going to tell you everything I know. Okay?
Okay.
Because here's the deal. In the end, I believe you've done something to Valerie. I believe you've done something to Valerie. And we're going to prove it. All right? But what I want to know is the why. And what you want to tell me is I'm sitting here watching you tear up right now. You want to tell me the why. Okay?
Here, the tone shifts dramatically. The officer moves to direct accusation, confronting Scott with the undeniable fact that Valerie was last seen with him. It's a jolt to the system, designed to shake loose the truth. By explicitly stating their knowledge of his actions on June 7th, the officer strips away any ambiguity and places the burden of explanation squarely on Scott's shoulders.
5 months ago, June 7th, Valerie disappeared. Okay? As June 7th went, that day, we know Valerie was with you. Admittedly, you told us that. But on June 7th, you drove Valerie ultimately back to your residence. Okay? And you arrived at your residence at 12:59 p.m. Okay? And then between 12:59 and roughly 4 o'clock, something happened. And our job was to fill the gap in to try to figure out what happened. And as the investigation unfolded, that led us to today, in which we found the box with Valerie's body in it behind your shed. Because we have her in the box, okay? Wrapped up multiple times, taped up in the box of the OSB and the 2x4s that you bought, next to the box that we talked to you earlier about that had the porn videos in it.
Had what?
Had the porn videos in it. We got her in the box next. So you know we have found her. And I didn't want to bluff you on that. I wanted you to know that. And as you're sitting there tearing up wanting to cry, all right? So, I'm going to read you your rights. This is the opportunity for you to explain the why.
There's palpable tension in the room. Scott is now fully aware that the officers have significant evidence against him, narrowing his avenues for denial or evasion. This tactic forces Scott into a corner, where his only recourse is to engage with the officers' questions more earnestly. The officer's skillful application of pressure here is a pivotal move, setting the stage for deeper revelations.
Okay, and I've got a question for you before we go any further. Why did they pick up Linda?
We're going to talk to her too. She lives on the property. We're going to talk to Linda as well. Because here's the deal, Patrick. How do we know what happened to her? You both live on the property. So we have to talk to everybody on the property. Does that make sense? But I'm giving you the opportunity to explain to me. The other thing is that there's family involved. There's mistakes that's been made, okay? I sit across a lot of people, okay? And the day one I sit across, or the times I've sat across from you, you remind me of a common man that goes to work, that works his butt off, and is a family man that loves his family. That's what I get from you, okay?
In this crucial phase of the interrogation, the officer employs a deeply humanizing tactic by invoking the pain and loss experienced by Valerie's family. This approach, known as the sympathy play, aims to tap into any latent sense of empathy or remorse within Patrick Scott. By highlighting the anguish of Valerie's loved ones and the irrevocable mistakes that have been made, the officer attempts to break through Scott's defensive barrier, appealing to his conscience and sense of humanity.
Now, I could have come in here and said, Patrick, do you know why I'm about to talk to you? Because that's the common thing. And that was the first thought in my head that I was going to do to you. And then I said, no. Because I think deep down you love Valerie, and I know you love your family. Okay? So I decided that when I come in that door just now, that I'm going to give you an opportunity to explain the why. Patrick, today's the day. Family deserves this closure, and you deserve this closure. Do you hear me? You deserve this closure because this has ate at you. We can tell that every time we talked. All right. Explain to me what happened to Valerie, and explain the why. Because we deserve it, and everybody else deserves it as well.
The impact of this tactic is multifaceted. On one hand, it serves to remind Scott of the real-world consequences of his actions. Potentially stirring feelings of guilt or regret that may have been suppressed or ignored. On the other hand, it strategically positions the officer as someone who seeks not just justice, but understanding and closure for everyone affected by the tragedy. The result of this sympathy play is a subtle but powerful shift in the dynamic of the interrogation, creating an environment where Scott might feel more compelled to open up, not out of legal obligation, but from a moral and emotional imperative.
What happened to Valerie?
Valerie got carried away.
Doing what?
Huh?
Doing what?
Doing what?
Just lay it out to me. Lay it out to me. What happened to her?
She tried to blackmail me into buying her a car.
Okay, and what happened?
She thought she was going to seduce me and it wasn't going to happen. Things just got carried away.
Well, explain that to me. What's that mean? Does Linda know about it?
Nope.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
It's your chance to tell me what happened.
She tried to seduce me and I wasn't going to have it.
But what happened to Valerie? That's where you're stopping.
What'd
you do to her?
The officer now emphasizes the critical nature of the moment, presenting Scott with a now or never choice. This tactic instills a sense of urgency, framing Scott's confession as not just inevitable, but as a necessary step for his own liberation, combining the pressure of the ticking clock with the promise of a final cathartic release.
What'd I do to her?
What'd you do to her? Tell us what you did to her.
Strangled her.
With what?
A belt.
Okay. And then what'd you do with it?
I moved her into the office.
Okay. How long was she in there?
Till the next day.
Okay. What did, where's the belt at?
It's gone.
Okay. You left her in the office till the next day. Then what happened?
Then when I got home the next day, I just made that box.
Okay. What about the hole?
The hole was already dug. But it wasn't for that, it was because I was going to throw concrete in it.
So you strangled her. What room were you in when you strangled her?
Right there by my bedroom.
So you said she tried to seduce you for the car. Well, explain to me what happened.
She was wanting to come on to me.
Did she say she was going to get you in trouble, or?
Yeah, she was going to tell everybody that I was making moves on her. Okay. I wasn't going to have it.
Okay.
Just things got out of hand.
Where'd the belt come from?
It was mine. I had it on.
You had it on? Okay. So explain to me what happened there in that room. Like, how'd you get the belt on her?
I was fighting her off and I took it and threw it around her.
Why were you guys fighting?
Because she was trying to get, she had tried to take her clothes off.
Okay.
And it wasn't going to do it.
Okay. And then you guys got in a fight?
Yeah, kind of a pushing and shoving thing right there.
Okay. And then you took your belt off, and then what happened?
I put it around her neck and I held on to it till she quit.
Okay. And what'd you do afterwards? Like, what was going through your head at that time?
I didn't know what to do with her.
What did you first think about doing?
Huh?
What was your first, what were you thinking about?
Trying to figure out what to do with her.
And how long did you hold that? Give me a ballpark how long you held the belt.
On her?
Yeah.
Just quit moving.
Okay. Did you know she was dead then?
I pretty much figured so.
Okay. And so you put her in the office, and then the next day you built the box. Where'd you build the box at?
Backyard.
Okay. And then when did you put her in the box?
That same day I built it. I didn't say nothing. I just knew she wasn't going to blackmail me.
Yeah. So because of the blackmail, was that your intention to kill her? To avoid the blackmail?
She was going to tell everybody that I had my way with her, and that never happened.
Okay. So then, was that your plan? Like, if you weren't going to be blackmailed, right?
Right.
So was that the plan to kill her?
No, that just kind of happened.
Okay. Because she was going to blackmail you.
Yeah.
Blending tactical skill and psychological insight to navigate Scott's defenses, they ultimately got their confession and were able to provide the family and community with much-needed closure.
All right, Patrick. So you're going to be charged with murder today, okay? I assume you already knew that, correct? All right. But in the end here, I do think, like, everything I said was true to you, okay? Everything I said to you was true. Okay, when I started talking to you, everything I said was true, all right? Like, I do think that it's the best situation here is that you finally came out, and in the end, I think you are going to be happier that you came out on it, okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Stand up, we'll throw these back on you, okay?
Ultimately, Patrick Scott agreed to a plea deal, resulting in a 57-year prison sentence.
There's going to be a hole there forever. There was a hole there when we thought she was out there somewhere. There was a hole and it's never going to be filled. It's like half your family's gone.
Although she's not been charged in connection to this case, Valerie's parents believe that Linda Scott, Patrick's wife, knew Valerie was murdered.
I think it was the first week, right after we hung flyers. I think it was day 2 we went out and hung flyers, and as soon as we come home they were there. And they kept coming over, you know, asking me if I was okay and telling us, oh, I'm sure she's fine, she'll be back home.
I don't know how somebody could do anything like this. The man's a monster, and his wife needs to be prosecuted with her.
Absolutely.
She knew everything about it too, I'm sure.
I honestly believe his whole family knew.
A deeper look at the nature of Scott's relationship with Valerie shed light on his outrageous attempts to justify the murder with claims of blackmail and seduction. Unbeknownst to her parents, beyond paying her as an employee, Scott had been providing Valerie with money, food, gas, and even took her on trips.
She used to like to go visit boys she didn't know on the internet.
She was
And I tried to get her to stop doing that because it's dangerous. And it didn't work. Come to find out it was the boss, not the boys.
Valerie's story, though heartbreaking, serves as a call to action for families to maintain open lines of communication with their children about the risks they may face even in familiar surroundings. The tragic circumstances of Valerie's murder underlines the reality that dangers can and do exist close to home. Be vigilant about your children's whereabouts and the people within your circle. Sometimes, the most dangerous predators are the ones you already know.
Yeah.